Welcome back to another week at Art Playground with Mrs. Vaughn. This week's artist, Wayne Thiebaud, had a few things happen in his childhood that were very impactful and stuck with him forever, and you will see in his art. The first thing is he worked at a cafe in Long Beach, California called Mild High and Red Hot. And it was known for having stacked ice creams, for having hot dogs, and many displays of cakes and pies, which you will see in his work. And the second thing, he was an athlete as a kiddo, but broke his back. So he had to find something else to do with his time, and he pursued getting involved in the theater. And he was great at doing scenery and stage crew, but what he really loved was doing the lighting. So he would do the spotlight on the actors, and then there's, a little shadow behind that actor. He took that into his art. You'll see a lot of the still lifes he does. There's a little shadow or a halo behind it. And that comes from his days of working at the theater. Enjoy learning more about our Artist of the Week, Wayne Thiebaud. Our Artist of the Week just turned 100 years old in November of 2020. Wayne Thiebaud is an American painter. He is best known for still lifes and edible treats. He was born in Mesa, Arizona in 1920 and moved to Los Angeles in 1921. He is considered part of the pop movement, but his paintings predated the pop movement. He is known for colorful and often humorous depictions of commonplace objects. For many years, he did odd jobs like sign painting, cartooning, and illustrating movie posters. At age 30, he finally realized he might actually be able to earn a living as a painter. He went back to school to learn about art and ended up teaching for many years in California universities. At age 40, he began painting still lifes of food. He did whole cases of pies. He did rows of cakes. He experimented with familiar objects based on his memories from his childhood. By 60, he had still lifes of round cakes, slices of pie, colorful lollipops, hot dogs, cherries, chocolate truffles, and candy apples. These studies truly made him an original artist. Time to get your supplies. We need some white paper, a pencil and eraser, a Sharpie or a black pen, thick and thin tipped are necessary. I'm going to be using colored pencils. You may use pens, paints, or crayons. You'll need scissors, and if you have something, I am looking for an extra thick sheet of paper or poster board for a template. All right, I want to give you an up close as to the project we're going to be working on. This is called the 3 machines. And so first I want you to look at the placement. If we're doing 3, I want that first circle right in the middle of the page. Circles are very difficult to do all on your own pretty perfectly, and Gumball machines have a pretty perfect globe on them. So I found a glass and I'm using it to trace it to get that perfect circle. Now I'm spacing them about 1 finger apart. So I'm putting one to the left, 1 finger apart. I'm doing the same thing. I am starting out with a Sharpie. It's okay, I am doing that so you can see it on the video. I would recommend you start with a pencil in case you have errors, you can fix them along the way. All right, I've got my 3 circles placed pretty well. I'm now going to create a template for the body of the Gumball machine. So I'm putting my circles aside. This green piece of paper, yours does not have to be green. It's just a heavier piece of poster board I'm using as a template. So do what I'm doing. I'm simply tracing my cup again, and then I'm going to create a rectangle within that circle. So straight line across the top, straight line across the bottom, and then I'm going to connect those two. And the reason I'm doing this is I want the body of the Gumball machine to be slightly smaller than the globe. By using this template, we will have the same size body under each of the Gumball machines. And see how I wrote a little T? That T is to remind myself that that is the top of my template. So if I draw one gumball machine with the T on the top, the other two also should be, so they look uniform. That's my way of just reminding myself. So I'm going to cut out my template. I kind of rounded the bottom edges just a little bit. You'll see that when we're tracing it. I'm going to draw, put it right where you can see it. I'm going to place that template directly underneath the globe, but I'm leaving like a pinky's worth of distance in between. And we'll fill that in a little bit. So all I'm going to do is trace this template, and I have the globe and the body of the gumball machine. Now, this is a pretty big project. If you want to do just one, that's fine. You know, with art, you always get options. I love the repetition of this artist. He always does multiples of the same thing, whether it be pies or cakes. So I'm going to do the 3 gumball machines. I'm a very patient artist, but you have the right to just do one, do what you want, make it yours. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to do it much like our artist this week. All right. So next we're going to work on the part that connects the globe to the body of the gumball machine. How simple is that? Just a line connecting them. If you print out pictures of the gumball machines, it's kind of fun to use it. You can see I have mine above, and now I'm just creating some of the lines between the globe and the body of the gumball machine, much like our artist did. Mine is very simplified compared to what he did. On the bottom of the body of the gumball machine, there's a rounded area. Well, we'll get to that. It looks like I changed my mind. This is now the counter. Part of the counter that the gumballs are sitting on is what I'm drawing now. I got distracted. And then the long stripe all the way across the bottom, that's actually the edge of the counter that the gumball machines are sitting on. My Sharpie died. Does that happen to you? Happens to me all the time with Sharpies. I just exhaust them. You know the place where you put your money and it tells you how much it is? That's what I am drawing right now. So fun fact, I am probably much older than you. When I was a kiddo, gumballs used to cost 1 cent. I remember when they went to a nickel. I remember when they went to a dime, and I've seen them for 25 cents. So I am going to make my gumballs cost a penny, but it's up to you. You decide what you would like to charge for your gumballs. And then the little mouse hole is where the gumball comes out. And now I'm doing a little line on the base of my gumball machine. And then there's a little stand that will go underneath it, which is a little bit wider. It's just rounded, and that's gonna make my gumball machine steady as it sits on the table. It's the base. So I have the globe, I have the body, I have the table it's sitting on, and I have the edge of the counter. I think I'm ready for the time-consuming part of this project. Well, this is not the time-consuming part. This is just coloring the base. This is the deep red, much like our artist did. My red wasn't right. I'm going to try a different one. I'm going to color those bases. I always like to color the same direction. When I'm using colored pencils, I think it looks really nice. And I usually turn my page so I can color it the same direction, but while I'm videoing, if I turn the page, it will look very strange to you. So I'm not able to color the way I usually do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color it in from all different angles, and then I'm gonna kind of go over it and fill in so it looks pretty uniform. going to speed this up for a little bit. You know how to do the coloring part. And then I'll come back to you when we get to the gumballs. Time to fill up that gumball machine. So I think there is a tendency, I use my thin tip Sharpie, but I think there's a tendency to make the gumballs really small. I'm trying to make them pretty clear circles, and I am not doing them 3D. They're not touching, they're not overlapping each other, they're just next to each other. If you would like to go 3D and have some fun with this, where it looks like they're overlapping, that is fine. I did it very simply. So all we're going to do is, much like our artist, we're going to completely fill up that globe with gumballs. It's not a half-filled machine. He has 3 filled machines. So I'm just slowly going to fill it up, and then I'm going to pick my colors, and I am going to fill up my globe completely, and then I'll get back to you. Hearing about the halo that this artist loved creating when he was doing the lighting for stages? All of his pictures also have a halo. So if you look at our sample, there's a little shadow coming off of each of the gumball machines to the right. So I am adding that in just a blue, just to give it the halo that this artist is pretty well known for. Talked about, if you just want to do one, fantastic. If you want to do all 3, continue on a little bit later. But for right now, what we're going to look at is in the top of his picture, he has, it looks like a very light wood grain. It's still white, but there's some light color on top, and that's what I'm working on, just using a brown pencil, very lightly creating that texture on the wall behind the gumball machines. It goes all the way down to the counter. A little hard to see on video, but it's just a very light touch with the hand. In the samples around the top of the globes, there are some little light stripes around the top of it. I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. He chose to color that. When you look more closely what that is, and that's what I'm doing with the pencil right now, that's actually, this piece of art was done with paint, and it's really thick paint around the edges of the Gumball Machine where he did it. But we kind of recreated it with a little brown pencil, added a little shadowing above the Gumball Machine. So go finish off the picture the way you wish. You have the gist of it, and I will look forward to seeing you at the end. As we wrap it up, I just want to say that I so enjoy doing this, and I always love an analysis after. What did you like? What did you learn? What would you do differently next time? Thanks for stopping by our playground today. If you enjoy what we do here, please subscribe to our channel and ring that bell.